What if the next electric car that completely changes the market isn't a luxury sedan, not a six-figure performance EV, but a compact hatchback that almost anyone can actually afford? Because that's exactly the feeling surrounding the all-new 2026 BYD Dolphin. And honestly, this little EV might end up giving brands like Tesla a serious headache. Welcome back to Drives, where we break down the cars everyone's talking about and explain why they matter in the real world. And trust me, the 2026 BYD Dolphin is a lot more important than people realize. This isn't just some cheap entry-level EV anymore. BYD has turned the Dolphin into something that genuinely feels modern, stylish, high-tech, and practical all at the same time. It's stepping directly into competition with cars like the Leaf, MG4, ID3, and even some lower-end versions of the Tesla Model 3. And the crazy part, it may actually beat some of them where it matters most: value, practicality, and everyday usability. Now let's start from the backside, because the rear design of the 2026 Dolphin immediately tells you this is not a boring budget EV anymore. The first thing that grabs your attention is that full-width LED taillight bar stretching cleanly across the tailgate. At night, this thing is going to look seriously premium. The lighting signature feels futuristic, sharp, and much more upscale than you'd expect from a compact hatchback in this price range. The rear design itself is smooth and modern without trying too hard. There aren't fake vents or unnecessary styling tricks everywhere. BYD kept it clean and elegant, and honestly, that works perfectly for this car. The rear glass slopes slightly downward, giving the Dolphin a sporty hatchback vibe, while the small integrated roof spoiler adds both style and aerodynamic efficiency. Down lower, you'll notice those glossy black diffuser-style elements that give the car a wider and more planted appearance. It's subtle, but it adds personality. Compared to something like the Leaf, the Dolphin looks much fresher and more futuristic. And honestly, even against the MG4, this rear design feels more refined and premium. Now moving over to the left side, this is where the Dolphin really starts showing how much BYD's design language has evolved. The profile looks dynamic and modern without losing the practicality hatchback buyers actually want. The roofline gently slopes toward the rear, giving it a sporty silhouette while still maintaining excellent headroom and cargo usability. A strong character line flows from the front fender all the way toward the rear lights, making the car look like it's moving even when parked. And here's the thing, the Dolphin doesn't look over-designed. Some EVs try too hard to appear futuristic and end up looking strange after a year or two, but the Dolphin feels balanced and mature. The side surfaces are smooth and aerodynamic, almost like they've been shaped by airflow itself, rather than just designers trying to add random sharp lines. The wheel arches are slightly flared, giving the hatchback a stronger stance, and depending on the trim, those aerodynamic alloy wheels really complete the modern EV look. Honestly, from this angle, the Dolphin feels much more expensive than it actually is. And let me ask you guys something. Would you rather buy a smaller, affordable EV packed with features, or spend a lot more money just for a luxury badge? Another cool detail is the floating roof effect created by the blacked-out pillars and contrasting roof colors. It's a small touch, but it instantly makes the car feel more upscale. Now let's walk around to the right side, because this angle really highlights how smart the overall proportions are. The Dolphin sits perfectly in that sweet spot between compact city car and practical everyday family hatchback. It's small enough to handle tight city streets and parking spaces easily, but it still looks substantial enough for daily life. And one of the biggest upgrades, flush door handles. That's something you usually expect from more expensive EVs, but BYD is bringing those premium touches into an affordable segment. They improve aerodynamics, reduce drag, and make the whole car look cleaner and more futuristic. From this side, you can also appreciate how balanced the wheelbase and cabin proportions are. Nothing feels awkward or oversized. Honestly, this doesn't feel like a cheap EV anymore. It feels like a properly engineered modern electric car designed to compete globally. Compared to something like the ID3, the Dolphin may not have the same badge prestige, but visually it absolutely holds its own. Now step inside, because this is where the 2026 BYD Dolphin really starts surprising people. The cabin feels modern, tech-focused, and much more refined than most people would expect at this price point. The first thing you notice is the clean dashboard layout. It's without feeling empty. Everything looks organized, modern, and easy to use. At the center sits BYD's signature rotating infotainment system, and honestly, this is still one of the coolest features in the segment. You can switch between portrait and landscape orientation depending on what you're doing, whether it's navigation, media, apps, or vehicle settings. And unlike some gimmicky features, this one actually feels useful in everyday driving. Behind the steering wheel sits a fully digital instrument cluster displaying speed, battery range, navigation, and driving information in a clean and modern layout. The steering wheel itself has a sporty compact design with multifunction controls positioned exactly where you'd want them. Now let's talk about materials, because this is where many affordable EVs start feeling cheap. But surprisingly, the Dolphin steps things up quite a bit. Soft-touch surfaces, metallic trim accents, ambient lighting, improved upholstery materials, and better overall fit and finish help create a cabin atmosphere that feels genuinely premium. Honestly, if someone blindfolded you and placed you inside this interior, you probably wouldn't guess this is supposed to be an affordable EV. The seats also look far more supportive and comfortable now, making the Dolphin suitable not just for short city trips, but also for longer drives. Thanks to the dedicated EV platform and flat floor design, rear passenger space is surprisingly good too. And that's important because many people buying cars like this are using them as family vehicles, commuter cars, or practical daily drivers. Storage solutions throughout the cabin also seem thoughtfully designed, with enough spaces for phones, bottles, bags, and daily essentials. And let me ask another question here. Do you think affordable EVs should focus more on technology or driving range? Because the Dolphin is clearly trying to offer both. Now when it comes to features, BYD is loading this hatchback with technology that used to exist only in much more expensive cars. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, voice control, over-the-air software updates, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, and even a 360-degree camera system are all expected depending on trim levels. That's seriously impressive for this category. Now let's talk about what's happening underneath the floor, because this is where the Dolphin becomes extremely competitive. The 2026 Dolphin continues using BYD's famous Blade battery technology, which has already built a strong reputation for safety, durability, and efficiency. And honestly, battery technology is becoming one of BYD's biggest advantages globally. Range is expected to land somewhere between around 420 and 500 kilometers, depending on the version you choose. And for a compact hatchback in this price segment, those numbers are extremely competitive. For most people, that means driving for several days without even thinking about charging. Whether you're commuting to work, running errands, or doing weekend trips, the Dolphin should easily handle daily life without stress. Performance-wise, expect a single-motor front-wheel drive setup focused on smoothness and efficiency rather than extreme speed. But remember, EVs feel quick because of instant torque. So even if this isn't a sports car, acceleration from traffic lights and city driving should feel responsive and fun. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour is expected somewhere around the 7 to 8 second range, which is honestly more than enough for a practical hatchback. The real focus here is smooth driving, low noise, easy maneuverability, and overall comfort. Charging capability also looks strong. Fast charging support should allow the battery to go from roughly 30% to 80% in about half an hour. That makes the Dolphin practical not just for city commuting, but also for longer highway journeys. Now let's talk about the price, because this is where things get really dangerous for competitors. Depending on the market and trim level, the 2026 BYD Dolphin is expected to remain aggressively affordable. And that's the key reason this car could become a global success story. Because when you combine modern styling, solid driving range, advanced technology, practical space, premium interior touches, and competitive pricing into one package, suddenly bigger brands start looking overpriced. Compared to rivals like the Leaf or even entry-level Tesla models, the Dolphin may offer better overall value for everyday buyers. And honestly, that's what makes this car so important. It proves affordable EVs no longer need to feel basic, outdated, or compromised. Now for the final verdict. The 2026 BYD Dolphin feels like one of the affordable EVs on the market right now. It's stylish enough to turn heads, practical enough for daily life, advanced enough to feel futuristic, and affordable enough to reach a much bigger audience. This isn't just another small electric hatchback. It's a statement from BYD that affordable EVs can still feel exciting, premium, and genuinely desirable. For city drivers, first-time EV buyers, commuters, students, small families, or anyone looking for a practical second car, the Dolphin makes a lot of sense. And honestly, if BYD gets the pricing right globally, this little hatchback could seriously disrupt the electric car market. So now I want to hear from you guys. Would you choose the 2026 BYD Dolphin over more expensive electric cars, or would you still spend extra money on a bigger brand name? Drop your thoughts down in the comments because I really want to know what you think. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss future EV reviews and automotive updates right here on Drives. Trust me, the EV world is changing fast, and you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next.